Welcome to the Let's Get Heavy podcast, where we explore the realms of heavy music and have conversations with some of the most talented bands within the genre. In this episode, myself and Bello Biohazard, big fangirl of this band by the way, had the opportunity to chat with Toby and Luke from Esoterica to discuss their UK tour, latest release Firefly, and what is in store for the future. Let's get heavy. Greetings, lads. How are you doing? Thank you for coming by.
Well,
Hello.
good, yeah. Hi, how are
Excellent.
you?
Oh, we are absolutely buzzing. Absolutely
Happy
buzzing.
days.
Thank you so much for giving up your Sunday evening to chat with us. It really is appreciated, guys. I can't thank you enough.
No
And
worries.
you
It's
have
great to be
also
here.
just not long getting off a UK tour. You must be
Yep.
absolutely shattered. How was the tour?
This is awkward, right? Because Toby's thinking Luke's going to answer, and I'm thinking where he's going to answer. So there's going to be an awkward pause every time, but that's cool.
No, it's fine. It's your turn.
And the tour was amazing. Yeah, it was really cool. I think for anyone who doesn't know us, like I'm the spreadsheet guy in the band, and Toby's like the dreamer, like the artist. And so from my point of view, I'm like, well, it was commercially very successful, and we sold loads of merch and we sold loads of tickets, and everyone had a great time, and we turned up on time, and the guitars were in tune, and all that boring stuff, right? Like, so I'm like, yeah, it was amazing, and genuinely, honestly, the best headline tour we've done to date, I think. And
Nice.
Yeah.
and we have wild and crazy ideas for what's next, to kind of go even more crazy. And
Yeah.
I don't want to talk too much about that because that's the dreamer stuff. So I'm going to hand over to Toby. How was the tour, Toby?
Yeah, it wasn't bad, was it? It was pretty great.
Just mellow.
Um,
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was
yeah.
alright.
The way I would put it is initially we had some big ideas and we looked at stuff that was very, very expensive to do. And we realized that we couldn't do everything we wanted to do. And that but we still did more than we've done previously, like substantially more. And because you kind of get this thing like audience fatigue where you put out music and then you play and then you play and your numbers goes up and then it goes down. And we kind of figured by the time this tour was going to happen, we would have two singles out and probably a third one happening when we booked it. And we just about got one out before that happened. And we were kind of worried, I suppose, behind the scenes, thinking, well, there's going to be a bit of audience fatigue. We've got one song to play, like it's not ideal. It's not how you'd normally sort of be a bit more ahead. But it's difficult for us because obviously we all have day jobs. We're boring normal guys. And we spend everything we get doing daft music stuff. So the thing is, everyone surprised us really. We sold more tickets than we've ever sold over the tour. We did. It went really well. We absolutely smashed the merch, as in we did like double what we hoped we would do. And Marie, who's our merch girl, who's just awesome, she was like, "Oh no, I can beat that. I'm sure we'll do a bit more than that." And we absolutely crushed what she had planned to do. And I think that was shocking but brilliant. That has helped us in the respect we got to the end of the tour and we were like, we've got a really big daft plans that we basically priced for, that we're gonna implement much later in the year. In fact, I would before I go too far into that, what I would say is we recognize that shows need to be shows and more of an experience and less of a pub gig when you get to a certain point, you know?
Yeah.
And so, for example, we were talking to Harry, the guy from Hammerdown, when he first sort of suggested us playing, and he was like, I think it was him who suggested doing it with like a string section and blah blah blah. And it was like that really meets with what we want to do in the respect that we want to do a more of an experience thing in the future. Like I did this thing where I sat down and I looked at like Marilyn Manson and Rammstein and like Ghost, basically very big bands. And I was like, what are they doing? What makes it work? And so I kind of distilled it down into uh like almost a, how do I like a Venn diagram almost. And there's these things that each of them does, which other bands don't do all of those things. They'll do one or maybe two. And there's this magical bit where your level just goes off into La La Land.
Yeah.
And we, in doing the last album, we really got a good idea of what we were, where we were going. So that lent itself to understanding what we would look like doing those sorts of things, like what we would look like doing that level of show, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And obviously, we don't have £1 million to spend on a show, or even 100 grand, but we have done a lot of research, and we have a plan designed. And I think that from now on, I'd really like to make shows, unless it's a club show, in which case it will be like a gig, raw energy, go for it, which you probably we'll definitely do those. But I think like I would like to make things more of an experience.
Hmm.
I mean, we've talked a lot about this. We're definitely going to do that. It's
Nice.
I've just wandered off right into the bushes.
Look, that's one question
quite
so far.
quite all right. I look forward to have this, just hopefully seeing that experience.
Yeah, mate. It's
I noticed
like
on the tour though you didn't come to Newcastle. We were very disappointed.
Oh, it's on the list.
It's on the list.
I'll tell you what. One of the things is when you're in the situation we were in, we knew that, as I said, about audience fatigue and about, so we didn't know what our general sales would be and things like that. So you have to, it's really difficult. You kind of have to space them out and hope that you sell enough in those places. As it turns out, it went a lot better than we expected. And I think that maybe sometimes you underestimate. Do you know what? Right, last album cycle, what did we start with? Like the Black Heart, what's that, 120, 150 cat, something like that. And we kind of played that and we sold that out twice. Then went to Underworld. Underworld? I think I'm right with these, so I don't know. Anyway, we ended up at the Scala and we sold more tickets at the Scala than we'd done at the other shows, which is bonkers. And for us, that was great. We didn't sell the Scala out, but we did really, really well. And for where we were at, I remember thinking on the night, like, I still expect to play to like 6 people. In other words, our girlfriends and wives. You know, like that's what I expect. Like, and then I remember being there and looking around, thinking like, geez, there's so many people. This is like, and there's nobody on after us. So that's pretty cool, you know, like from my perspective, that's pretty amazing. And it's funny how like you get to a certain point and it just we're just in a weird tipping point. There's just a lot more people going to shows. It's a lot more. What it does is it means the money we spend out on like advertising and getting like smoke machines and lighting and all that other stuff is coming back rather than like it's washing its own face.
Basically, Paying for
So
itself, sort
growing.
of thing.
it's growing, yeah, exactly. And like they're so weird. There's certain things that are just, I don't know. Like I'm gonna waffle and ramble. You're gonna have to drag me back occasionally.
Yeah, like
But
it's like fully interrupt because he'll
yeah,
just keep
fully
going.
interrupt.
Like,
Yeah,
Just keep going.
yeah, exactly. But going to sort of like give you the point, like when we made the Firefly video, right? We chose a song that we thought, right, we're gonna do like a soft release where you remind people that you're there, that you play music. Then people hear it and they're like, yeah, this is, the first song, great, blah blah blah. Then you build up and you build up and you go like stronger, stronger, stronger. That's how we kind of like
Yeah.
wanted to work it. And I had this idea for a video, which I put into like a book, which I drew out once, then again as the things evolved. And then Lukey and I sat down at the end and we kind of went like, no, this is not right. This is right. This is the timestamp for this, and this. And bear in mind that everything in that video is so deliberate, timestamp wise and organization wise, that I know people don't realize what we've done yet, right? But that video, I got to a certain point where we had the video, and I would go and take it to people, and I'd be like, watch this. And there'd be like a kid in school, like kids, so my son's mates, whatever, they'd be like, wow, that's amazing, or sick. And then there'd be like 70-year-old man go, oh my God, that's amazing. And everyone would use the same things. It'd be like, oh fuck, or oh my God. But it would all start with O, right? And it happens very, very quickly. Why does that say that? Your call ends in 15 minutes.
No.
Don't know. I've just turned it off.
Oh, wait, fair enough. I was going to say it's new.
Yeah. It's just trying to beat me up. But going back to what I was going to say, so this thing, it like, I knew that it had an amount of like, ooh, this is cool. And we are designing our stage show. I want people to walk in the room for it to start and people to go, oh fuck, in the first, like, in less than a minute, 30 seconds. By the time we're 4 songs in, I want them to be standing there thinking, I haven't drunk my pint yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, I literally want them to go for the first, 3-4 songs, like, oh shit, what happened there? Like, I've just lost time in my life. It's vanished. But that was amazing. And like, it's hard to explain. Like, when you start as a band, you're like, oh, I'm going to make a song. It's going to be the best song in the world. The greatest song in the world.
Yeah,
Where you go, right? Look at you. You've got this idea about what you're going to do. Then there comes a moment where you're like, we've got to make a really good video. And then you realize that the videos you're doing aren't good enough. And why aren't they good enough? And you rewind and work out how that works. Then you're like, Venn diagram, it's missing the live show. We've got to sort that out. Really get that good. It's all well and good. You can play well and you can perform as a unit well. But the next level bands are doing more than just that.
yeah.
So then you get into like, how do I design that? And we are at a stage in our lives where there's nothing else that's worth doing, is there, really? Let's be honest. You might as well just slay everything. And this album cycle, I intend to bring things aggressively to a different place. And if the first video was a mission statement, that went really well until we got kicked in the balls by Google. But it's not so bad because even though they've put that thing on there, it's organically getting like 1,000 views a day, which is crazy. They turned off the algorithm, whatever it is. It's really annoying. And but my
feel you. I feel you with the algorithm.
yeah. I mean,
I'm
we
still
would
trying to learn it, to be honest with you. It's a
mate,
right
we'd be
head
like
fuck.
we were getting into over 30,000 views a day. It would just grew and grew and grew fast. And I think by now, I know we'd be into the hundreds and hundreds, and we're in the hundreds of thousands already. But we'd be into like crazy numbers now. And another thing I realized with that is I understand how it works now. And I think Luke does, like you understand even better than me. One of the things I think is when you're trying to work out how to beat the system, there's like this impossibility cock blocker you have in your brain that says, well, you must be doing this to make it work. And I think that when you sort of seen it like that behind the scenes, you're like, okay, now it's doable. It's a bit like, I don't know, back in the day when someone decided to take down a bloody buffalo or something, and it's big and it's huge and it's running at you, and it's like, you
Like,
can imagine a load of cavemen, and
now
one of
we're
them
on,
stabs it, and it's like,
now,
wow, we've
Toby,
made it
now we're on
bleed.
buffaloes and cavemen. I think maybe we should go to question 2.
I was just about to say, swings and roundabouts, the top and bottom of it, the tour went
Legit,
really well.
you're right.
The tour went
Yeah,
really well.
yeah.
And I'm glad that you've done absolutely fantastic on the merch as well. Because
It's
that obviously
amazing.
it keeps you guys going, and it means we get more chances to see you live as well. So, and more
Yeah, it's
albums in the
brilliant.
future. Excellent. So, for anyone who is new to Esoterica, I am saying the name right, guys. Here, is it Esoterica? Am I saying the name correctly?
You can't get it wrong. We accept both versions, Esoterica or Esoterica. Either is fine.
Right.
In Spain, you always get there's no ESOs in Spain. It's all
Right.
Esoterica. So that's fine.
Yeah.
In Mexico, I'd imagine it's the same.
It's all good.
So the band's
good.
been around for
Everyone's
quite
welcome.
some time. Back in the early noughties, it was because your debut album was 05, if I recall. What initially brought the band together, and what was the musical vision you all shared?
Come on, I'm talking way too much.
How I look.
The band came together. Well, originally Toby started the band with a friend of his called Charlie in Africa in the late 90s. So that's how old we are. And and they got in trouble one day and were sent to the naughty boys corner, wherever it was. And then one of them had a guitar, and they started jamming and making some music, and one thing led to another, and before long you were stuck up in front of a class full of kids in Africa playing tunes, I think, something like that. And so that's kind of how it started. But I guess, do people know this? I don't know if people know this, but Toby's my brother, so we're brothers. We both have the same
I only found that out last night.
Our cousin Will plays the keyboards. And Matt, who plays guitar, I went to primary school with him, so I've known him since we were about 4 or 5 years old, something like that. And he's been my best friend since primary school.
He's always been hard work.
And then there's Laura and Mike. So it's kind of like there's definitely a kind of a family thing. So although the band officially started in the 90s, like we've all been playing music since we were kids, and we're obviously family, like on some level. So yeah, I hope that answers the question. Let's move on to the next question, because we might get
Taron's got the next one for
within the hour, which would be really amazing.
I know, yeah.
Okay, so the London rock and metal scene's vibrant and diverse. Which bands or artists would you say have had the biggest influence on Esoterica?
I'm going to Toby's just ducked out. By the way, I had the same message to Toby. We're fully going to be kicked out in 8 minutes, but we'll try and rejoin and we'll just style it out. I'm sure it'll be fine.
That's a bit odd. Shouldn't be doing that.
That's cool. I mean, worse things have happened in interviews. Much worse, in fact. But anyway, who's influenced us? I mean, I'm going to answer that in a slightly different way. We often get compared to Tool and A Perfect Circle. We definitely have liked those bands as well as many others, like, you know, growing up and stuff. So that's a huge compliment to.
Am I still there?
Yeah,
you're
you're
still
still
here.
there.
Okay, because my little picture of me just shrunk suddenly, really small.
Yeah, you're
Wow,
still
amazing.
here.
You're still here. You're still here.
It's Google
That's fine.
Translate.
Carry on then.
on.
I was just like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, but I think we've got kind of diverse influences. I definitely, you know, like some of us are into more kind of, I don't want to say pop music, but more commercial kind of bands like, I don't know, Bring Me the Horizon or Bad Omens or stuff like that. And then some of us are into much more kind of obscure and ethereal type stuff, and you know, I don't want to say weird, like, you know, jazz even, or like, you know, so we have a really broad spectrum of.
And then some are a lot heavier as well.
And then we have this Venn diagram again of like where we kind of overlap.
Loving the Venn tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, we like the Venn diagram today. So yeah, and I'd say bands like Typo Negative kind of live in that space in the middle where like we all like that band. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're wicked.
You know, as an example, and there are many, but yeah, there's loads of different bands we like, and you know, yeah, and you can see from the covers that we do as well that it's not, you know, we don't only listen to, you know, heavy metal music, obviously, like it's, you know, we listen to all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that's quite all right. Your music blends different subgenres. How would you describe Esoterica's sound to someone unfamiliar with the band?
Oh, this is a great question, and there's a really good answer now. For about 10 years, there was no good answer to this. Now there's a good answer.
Well, for about 10 years, we would just say we're like progressive or prog, but
yeah,
but
prog metal is, yeah, that's how Spotify defines us, really, isn't it? Like prog metal, I think. But we define,
which I think we do fit.
We define ourselves as ethereal metal. So like we definitely have, I think for us that's the thing that is distinctly
us
different about us versus other bands. Like we're a bit proggy, but we're nothing like say Dream Theater, or like, you know, a band that might have a 12-minute jazz song with heavy guitars, you know, like it's, you know, we're songier than that, if I can put it that way. But we're also just more ethereal. Like we have, like, you know, we always have these kind of layers to our music, and it's super spacey, and we live nicely with orchestras and choirs and like and just synths, like really kind of super spacey synths that take you to outer space. So like I think, yeah, for me that's definitely how we describe ethereal metal.
Yeah.
Esoteric lyrics often deal with, well, esoteric themes. What inspires your songwriting, and how does the lyrical content?
So Toby pretty much writes all the lyrics. We've in the last couple of albums, definitely this most recent one, we've kind of bounced a bit with lyrics, haven't we? Toby's like,
yeah.
But it's still mostly Toby, and I don't know, for me, and it's not just the lyrics, but the music. It always comes from a real place to begin with, although there's definitely a level of art, or I don't know what you call it, like we're always punching with what we're trying to create as an overall thing, like bigger than any one song, if that makes sense. But
yeah,
even down to the individual, a lyric or a chorus or whatever, it always has to mean something on some level, whether it's like something that makes you, you know, want to jump around the room, go crazy, or whether it's something that is like, you know, to do with someone you love, or it's someone that's died, or whether it's, you know, something which is telling a story which you find really interesting, or but it has to have meaning on some level, and you have to feel it. That's kind of the minimum requirements, I think, when we're writing music. It's, if it doesn't make you feel something on some level, then it's probably not good enough, you know. And we write a lot of songs that don't ever get heard, you know what I mean?
So there seems to be a real rawness and energy to your live performance. How does the creative process differ between crafting a song in the studio and translating to a live stage?
Songs write themselves, so we get, so like a good example, so Firefly, the beginning of that, I just sang the whole of the "Tell Me Are You Tired" bit, like that whole thing, into my phone and sent it to Luke, and was like, this is the start of a song, right? So away we go, we make a song, right? And we get together and we noodle with things and we make decisions on what sounds good, what doesn't, what note, what's the best, as it were. I can't remember exactly all of it, but I know that and anyway, so we do that. Then you never really know what that's going to be like live. And I'll give you a good example of that was like Humanity, because we wrote a song, like, we argued a lot about that, didn't we?
Yes.
And I was like, this is going to be a good song. And you weren't so sure. And like, I'm right. No, I'm joking. But this is like, it's one of them where you kind of like have your, like, but I didn't realize that everyone was going to sing it at me at the gigs. So get to the chorus and the whole place is singing it. I'm standing there thinking like, what the hell? And of course, like, and that's the dynamic you don't know. I think a lot of people are starting to sing a lot of our songs. So we've gone from going to gigs, you supply the song, the energy, the whole lot. Now they're doing it for us. It's crazy.
Quick follow up
So-
on that. So, how you've said obviously the crowd, the audience are now singing back to you.
Yeah.
The first time that ever happened, what was your reaction?
Probably laughing, actually, just like, oh shit. Like, I don't know. It was okay. I heard a door slam, but it's something else. I don't know. Yeah, it's probably the kids having a row upstairs.
I remember the first
Claps
time
on.
anyone sang along at a show, and it was in Spain, and it was
Bloody hell.
years ago. And it was on the first album. I'm pretty sure it was on the first album. And I just remember them singing Miranda and the Tempest. And it was just the most amazing feeling. Like,
It is crazy, isn't it?
and then it didn't really happen again for quite a while after that, or at least that's my recollection. And then definitely on this tour, it's like, well, on when we did the last couple of tours, actually, like it definitely started to happen for certain songs. And then yeah, on this tour, it's just been like every night. Like that's what it feels.
Yeah.
Like. They're all singing along every night. I found, by the way, your original voice note of Firefly. Do you want to hear it?
Go on. Yeah, that's funny.
I don't know if hopefully this will come through.
Tell me, are you tired? Are you weary to the bones? No amount of sleep will make you whole.
Bloody hell.
Are you a dream? Are you fire? Are you ice?
That's
Are
funny.
you somewhere lost in time? Are you hungry?
I don't know when you sent that to me, like years ago, and like you sent me that, and then I basically sent you back the track, didn't I?
Yeah. Started playing with it straight away, didn't you? Yeah. And it's funny as well because actually you can hear my dogs drinking their water in the background.
Yeah, exactly.
Like straight away I heard that, I was like, I can hear my dog. Fucking hell. Yeah, but that
could have
usually
added like a new layer to the song, having the dogs.
Oh, yeah. Well, usually what it is as well is like you get those kinds of moments, and like I've got hundreds and hundreds of bits of like song ideas on my phone, and like you can hear the car driving in the background, or you can hear the kids arguing, or you can hear the feet of the dogs on the wood floor click 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 click, or whatever it is, But usually, then you'll go back and listen, and like a number of them will be naff, and some will be like all right, and then some will be just like you'd be like, yeah, that's really cool. Some songs are very formed when they come out. Some are hard work, like Dysutopia was quite hard work. So we played that on the tour, which is a new one which we haven't released yet. But the verse was really easy, and the verse just sort of fell out the way it goes, and the chorus was just a pig to get to a point where we could work with it. And part of the reason is there's a couple of things that you do when you write songs. So one of them is that you write, you specifically have some kind of storylines that you want to work with. So that's one thing. And then another one is that you can make words by amalgamating words, or you can make a vibe by, like, I guess it's more than just one thing, is what I'm saying. Like, some songs are a lot more difficult to get to, and it's interesting how I know that song is going to work really well live, because we did it, and then at playing it to people, like, when I say raw, they've never heard it before. By chorus 2, they've got the idea of what it's about. By the end of the song, like, they're starting to sing along, and I'm thinking, like, okay, like, this is gonna work. And it's funny how, again, like, for me, I thought that's not a particularly strong song, and you were more like, this is gonna work. And in this instance, you're definitely gonna be right. I just know, like, I've seen it now. So it's sort of like, and so it's funny because one of the things we do as a band is we know that it's not all one person or another's choices. Like, there are songs that I've done where I've been like, oh, I'm not sure about this, or I am really sure about it, and someone else isn't, and everyone gets their kind of go to have their kind of head with stuff, and see what happens, because that's kind of the
Democracy in a
point, isn't
band,
it?
sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but not all bands are like that. I know people have been in bands and they're like, oh, we don't do anything. We just wait for him to come out with all the bits and away we go. And I I get that, but I sometimes wonder whether, like, you can lose stuff with that, Like, there's magic in the amalgamation. Mm.
Brings me to the next question. Collaboration is key in any band. How does Esoterica typically approach songwriting and arranging? Is it a democratic process, or does it stem from individual members bringing their ideas to the table?
I think there's probably a two-part answer to that. One is, generally what will happen is the guys will write stuff, I will write stuff, we'll all write stuff. And some stuff grows quickly. Usually when something grows automatically, it's good. But that's not always true, but generally. A lot of the time, I'll give you two examples of things that are very different that and it'll make sense. So Will tends to write fully formed songs, and he will write and then 2 weeks later hate what he's written and write something else over it, and 2 weeks later it will be a different song again. And he's a guy who's just always seeking perfection. So he struggles to settle one thing out.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like that's his war with himself that he's learning. Laura did a lot of the songs on this album, a lot of the start of the songs, because she went away, sat down with, like, the computer and keys, and made literally a 30-second clip of music. And then, like, I'd hear it and I'd be like, sing almost immediately onto it and have, like, an idea of where the verse is and where the chorus needs to go to make the song work. And a really good example of that was, like, we had a song which was written, which is the third one on the album. I'm not going to do names, I guess. I don't know. It's up to you. Like, but anyway. And we got to a certain point where she had given us a loop for the verse. And I know it, like, again, experiences that don't let me listen to it until I'm plugged in and ready to go, because first ideas are usually the best. And if not, then it's going to take quite a while anyway, because it's going to be work. And usually what I'll do is I'll seek melodies and rhythms. And then melodies and rhythms naturally fall towards certain words, and then words we can create, like I can create anything out of different words. It's fine. So it's like, and if you shunt a rhythm slightly left or right, it's not so bad as long as you've got the main structure, if you see what I mean. Anyway, we get into this room, we've got like a engineer there, we've got ourselves there, and we were like, we need to write another song for the album. And it was like, Lukey was going into the other room to sit down and try and get a chorus. Bless the engineer, he was like, I want to be in there and I want to get involved and blah blah blah. And I was like, let's look at the piano over here. Let's fiddle with this in this other room far away from him for now. And we were like in this kind of, it was really hard. Like I literally felt like my job at that point was to keep him out of the room and away from Luke so Luke could do his bit, because he was like, I think I know what I'm doing. And then however many hours later he came out and he was like, I've got a chorus, like guitar parts written, and like it sounds right and blah blah blah. And in the room with the piano, we'd really achieved not a lot but drinking a few beers, which was probably about perfect. And then I literally went in there and sort of belted it out in one. And then it was like, okay, now I need to like write the lyrics and whatnot. And it's a banger. Fucking love that song.
Well, most of us
really,
think that's the best song on the new album, the one you're talking about.
yeah.
Nice.
And it's funny because people are like, "Oh, Firefly is really cool," and I think it's a great track. I'm biased, obviously. I think all our songs are great, but for me, Firefly is not in the top 3 on the new album. Like,
Oh, really?
You know, it's probably top 5, but it's not.
I was going to say 5. Yeah. But it's interesting.
I'm intrigued to hear more than so. Touching on that though, Firefly and the new album. The fans have been buzzing about Esoterica's new album since the release of Firefly. Been quite a few YouTube reactions. Your wife Luke even came to our live stream. Even she tried to request the song, but I think she'd literally, because I think 30 minutes before we had just played it.
Oh, awesome!
I don't think it was that, but I had literally just put on an Esoterica song.
Yeah. So yeah, your wife actually came in and requested the new Firefly song for us, as well as Bella Biohazard also playing it as well. So big shout out to your wife, Luke.
She's brilliant. Yeah.
And again, shout out to her because of her this interview was happening. So give some love to her, because she kind of gave you the kick up the arse to reply to my email.
Yes, that is. If she wasn't there, probably nothing would happen.
So fans have been absolutely buzzing about Firefly. Can you share any insights into the themes or inspiration behind this song?
Oh, is that me?
I don't know.
We should have cards or something, you know, like
we should. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Toby kind of touched a little bit on it earlier, that and loads of the fans have kind of identified this, that Firefly is not the whole story. Like, there's going to be more to it later.
Well, everyone's like, it's a game. Does she complete the game? Blah blah blah. And I love that. And but it's fun. You're right. It's not the whole story. It's funny because in a lyrical sort of aspect, like that's more like I wrote it for my daughter. So she's like been assessed as having ADHD, and she's most likely autistic, and she's fucking wild, but she's lovely, like as in she's definitely high functioning, she's totally going to cope with life, but she's just chaos. I mean, like, honestly, right now I'm downstairs chilling out, talking to you guys. My son's watching it. I'm probably going to find most of the house in pieces. And like it's so like it sounds crazy, right? But literally, she's had ceilings down. She's that kind of kid, you know. She's just properly wild.
Wait
And
until
like
she's older, she's gonna curb
one
stomp
minute
somebody in a
she's
mosh
like
pit.
going berserk, and she's like gonna crash, and yeah, you know, she's just like exhausted, and you try and trouble is her language wasn't very good. So like I could understand her. Like she's good now. She's having like language therapy or whatever,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like but she's always going to be different, and that's why the whole thing like it probably makes more sense now. Do you know what I mean? Like because you're trying to crack the code of your own kid, you're trying to work out like what are you thinking, what are you doing, like why is this a big deal? Like this doesn't matter, like but everything matters, you know. And so like I've learned very very much from her to like go with things and not have like I've always been very laid back, do you know what I mean, and easy, but things are like nothing matters to me in like a big way like music, but apart from that, you know, I love my missus, but there's nothing really big or scary, but for her it's also important, and it really matters, you know. And like you know, like if you're on your phone scroll, like that's okay, but for her that's not so great. Do you know what I mean? Like
I hear it.
she needs like your attention. She'll grab your face and like she's like a little fucking cola bottle that's been shook up ready to pop, you know, like all the time. And it's lovely, it's beautiful chaos. So like
Handy though, it keeps you off your phone. Because we're all
oh
guilty of
mate,
scrolling through our phones, aren't we? Especially
we are,
late
yeah,
late
yeah,
at
yeah.
night, you're trying to go to bed, you're trying to go to sleep. We're all guilty of it. Just scrolling through your phone, and then you realise, oh shit, it's 3 a.m.
Yeah. I've just killed half an hour of
Yeah.
what, you know, like, you know, watching people fall over outside their house or some shit. I don't know.
So
But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of like lyrically where that's gone. And then like it's really the next song is like an observation of society. And these two things tie together so well. And it's so damn annoying that I have to wait, but it's gonna be cool.
I
Like it
cannot
is
wait.
gonna be cool. It's not like anything I've seen. So like there's a real it's really annoying because like if I said to you that we had a thing, you get a thing where people's like they're like, oh, this is really amazing or it's a masterpiece or whatever. And that's really nice, but like it's annoying because it's like a little slice of the pie, and I know that it's a lot more. And the problem, one of the problems we've got is that we needed more money, so the tours helped with that to be able to finish doing the things we're doing, blah blah blah. So things were kind of on hold. And to explain that in more detail, we you end up with footage that's great footage, but it's not in and of itself going to convey the story you want, and it's not good enough in and of itself. Now, that's not to say that the footage isn't good enough or that how it's shot isn't good enough. Well, it's nothing like that. I don't mean that at all. It's
Yeah.
perfect. It's brilliant. But it's because there's other elements that are connected that need to be connected to convey the whole story. And it's so frustrating because we would really like to, we'd probably have another one out by now, wouldn't we, really?
Yeah.
Sometime in the next, we'd probably have sent it off for the 2 week run in anyway to, you know, all the, you know, streaming sites or whatever.
Yeah, man.
Which, but our problem at the moment is that we were waiting and really hoping we were going to do well. And obviously that's worked really well.
You are doing really
So
well at the minute, lads. Oh,
it's
Oh,
crazy. It's
killing it at the
crazy.
minute, man. You're killing it. What's your take on this, on Luke? What's Can you share any of your insights or themes or inspirations behind the song?
Well, the thing is that I mean, I can't really speak to the lyrics better than Toby already has. But you know, and to that point, like, you know, like I said earlier, like they all have to come from a real place and they have to mean something. And so Firefly is about Toby's daughter, and I don't know how much more meaningful that could be to a person. But for me, the videos are, you know, a significant part of this thing, and you know, both me and Toby are trying not to say too much, but the Firefly video and the Dysutopia video, which is coming next, which is the next single, you know, we've done something that nobody has ever done before, and I think that's true. Like, it
is, yeah. I'm pretty sure it is.
That I think when people realize that, I think that's the bit that people are going to probably go crazy over, I think. But
it's more than that.
The songs aren't great too, but like, you know, but that's the bit that I'm kind of most excited about, because it is genuinely something that just no one's ever done before. So I think
but it's more than that, isn't it? Because the reality is that in actual fact, that whole story is bigger than that as well. And this is like what people like. It affects the writing of the music. It's fascinating. Like, if this is, this is a conversation for after the fact.
Yeah,
this is like trying to not tell you that we're, you know, making an ice cream sundae and get you to eat it blindfolded, and then say, oh yeah, it's an ice cream sundae. Do you know what I mean? Like, but you know, with magical sprinkles from fairyland. But my point is that, like, people, it's really hard because we're just ahead of the curve a bit, and it's frustrating. It's really sucks. You know, I'll give you a really good example. You know, when Christmas comes and your kids are little and you're like, I'm going to give them the fucking toy they really want. And it's smaller than a big box. So I'm going to get them a really fucking big box and put it in there and trick them. So they think they're getting something crap when they're getting exactly what they want, you know, like, so you get an Xbox and you put it into a giant box, you know, like, and you're there like almost sniggering to yourself for a week, and then Christmas morning you're awake before they are, and you're like, you know, you're sitting there like, I want you to open your presents, and like, why are they not awake? It's 6 o'clock. Come on, get up, you know, like, and you know they're gonna freak out. But you know, it's probably into my psyche here, but you know what I mean, like, and you're there and you're thinking like, any minute now this is gonna be great, and like, and I'm
like the kid for her. I'm like the kid for her. Like, just build up what you got to Christmas.
Yeah, that's it.
So
and then
she might do your idea, get a really small present, put it in a massive box.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've done stuff like that, or taken part of the present and put it in a box, so it's a little tiny box, but the present's like elsewhere, kind of thing. Just tease them, because you know what they're like. They bloody go and look under the tree and feel stuff or whatever. But little shits. Nice. But yeah, it's exactly like that, but much slower and much longer and much more like, oh, it's intense, man.
So Firefly seems to showcase a bit of a new direction for Esoterica sound. Is this indicative of the overall vibe we're gonna?
Yeah. It's. Yeah, I think so. I mean, for me, I feel like the new album. So on the last album, In Dreams, I feel like we figured out who we are and what our sound is, and we really kind of, I guess, honed in on that, our identity. Like we've always had a sound, but I think we really kind of honed that in on the last album, and I think this album is really is going to be the full expression of that, really. So I kind of see it as a continuation of In Dreams, but if anything, it's even more concentrated, like it's even more exaggerated, like meaning that the aspects that make our band unique are kind of exaggerated on this album. What I can say for sure is there are not like, you know, a dozen songs which sound identical to Firefly. In other words, it's similar to our other albums. It's a diverse and interesting album, meaning, or to me at least, meaning there are different types of songs in it, and there are definitely things that we've done on this album that we've never done before musically as well, that fit firmly into that kind of bracket of who we are and what our identity is. I've mixed the album, so that's scary, and let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it definitely. But we've done some amazing things. We've. Am I allowed to say all the things? But we've recorded.
Say whatever you like.
We've recorded an orchestra and we've recorded a choir.
Not allowed to say that one though.
I'm not allowed to say that. Yeah. And we recorded
I was
the
waiting for
drums
that.
in my favorite studio, in the world, which was really cool, and for drums at least. And we did everything times 10. I don't want to say properly because the other albums are cool too, but we really went to the nth degree, I think, in terms of making the album. So yeah, the short answer is I think it's not going to drop from Firefly. Like I said earlier, for me, Firefly is not even in the top 3 on the new album. So I think it's for me at least, it's going to go up from here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sonically, it's in a similar or it shares a similar DNA. It's us. It's ethereal metal, and it's like, if anything, we're just leaning into that even more. I think the production value has gone up, at least in terms of how we recorded the album, for sure.
Yeah, and also the other thing is we did experiment with everything in terms of like production and stuff and producers and stuff, and I think there was a moment of realization that we know what we are better than anybody else, and I think that's a scary moment, because obviously at that moment there, you've got all the pressure on you of, let's get this right. And obviously, you're sending stuff to me and I'm listening to it going, oh, well, change that. And I'm not sure about this. And then we're going back to the band and saying, what do you think? And then, we turn the bass up a bit.
And can you turn me up?
Yeah. But my point is that there's an element of courage to have in that moment. And there's an element of, I think we've found ourselves. And one of the things that's happened already is we started on another album, because it's really easy to write us as us, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's ironic that I think we could probably produce albums much quicker in the future, and then that leaves us more space to concentrate on improving the live aspect, and like the video aspect. We are now currently in go crazy mode, like just feeling we're flexing at the moment. It's like, let's go, let's see what we can do. It's a beautiful time to be. We're lucky as hell.
Yeah
100%. It'd also be, especially with the streaming platforms as well, and there's so many bands, it's like getting the song out there. Do you know what I mean? Touched on the algorithm before, and you can easily get missed.
Yeah, of course.
So with the new album on the horizon, can you give us any sneak peeks into the writing and recording process? Were there any interesting challenges or collaborations that took place?
Loads.
Shall I, or are you?
Yeah, no, you can go for it, mate.
Oh, cool.
Like some of these were your brainchild, so you
we have collaborated with quite a few people, and I'm going to forget some people probably, because we've been recording this. Well, we started writing it at the end of In Dreams cycle. So in other words, when we released In Dreams, so that's back in 2019, basically. We've been making this album for years, for about 3-4 years, I suppose. You're looking to the ceiling there, Toby. Is it really that long? But some of them voice notes do take back to then.
Yeah, but actually, it's more that I guess in a way, the truth is that within that time, you have moments where you're on tour, moments when you're at home, moments when you're just not doing anything. I mean, the trouble is we do work in normal lives. Yeah. If we weren't doing that, I think we would. Well, I don't think 100% no, we'd get it done a lot quicker, and things would be a lot easier.
Yeah, true.
It's funny, you're trying to compete with world-class bands from your bedroom.
Yeah,
and it's funny
with
how
a day job and children.
Yeah, exactly.
But But to answer your question directly, like we worked with so a producer called George Lever, who I really admire. He's really awesome, and we worked with him.
Yeah.
He engineered all the drums for the album. Him with another guy called Izzy, who's working down at Middle Farm Studios.
Another lovely guy.
Pete Miles, who runs Middle Farm Studios, he engineered some of the stuff. He engineered the choir, and sorry, not the choir, the string orchestra. So we used Parallax Orchestra. Parallax Orchestra did, God, I forget,
Bands.
Bridge, and Bring Me the Horizon, and Architects, and whatever, like kind of dare I say it, proper bands.
Real bands.
Yeah, real ones. Yeah. And yeah, like I mentioned earlier, we recorded a choir for this album, but it wasn't just a choir. We kind of made a mega choir, so a choir that's never been recorded before. It was a combination of Choir Noir, who are they've worked a lot with Parallax Orchestra on those same bands that I mentioned just now, and our Toby's and mine's auntie, and Will, our keyboard player's mum, right? Sorry, that's confusing. A lady is in the London Oriana choir. So we got the London Oriana choir, who are just an incredible choir, and we mashed them together with Choir Noir, who are kind of like,
and they've been on like Classic
choir,
FM
really.
and that, like they're not like
they're
a nothing. They're on like proper, like I say, Classic FM. They do like big cathedrals and stuff. They're a bit like
So we mashed up those choirs, and then we took them into a church, our local church, actually. My wife, she's responsible for that again. And we recorded them, and we filmed it actually with proper Mike, our bass player is he does television filming and stuff. So he brought all his TV cameras in, and we filmed it, and it is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like I'll just shut up. It's better just to listen to it.
It's a beautiful thing, though, isn't
it? It's really cool.
So, when can we expect the new album, or like the next single, and then maybe is the album to drop?
So we're doing one track at a time at the moment, and yeah,
there's a story to tell.
Yeah, we're focused on
So
Dystopia.
they've got to continue on from Firefly, will it? With the video aspect, because like you touched on before, did you finish the game? They're going to continue.
You'll have to wait and see. You'll have to wait and see.
It's the small toy in the big box again.
It really is. It really is.
At some point, we will.
It's a bit more like a TARDIS, to be honest.
We'll finish
a little
that
box
video,
and you can climb in.
We'll finish the video and the song at some point in the next some weeks. I don't know how. And then when it's ready, and only when it's ready, we'll send it out, and then we'll have a release date. So there's no fixed release date for anything at this point.
Fair play. Fair play.
Our goal is to try and put out a single roughly every 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. And we have a few singles where we want to tell this story first before we start thinking about the album release date. The album is written and it's recorded, but it's not fully mixed yet. So
and as far as the 6 to 8 weeks goes, that obviously in this moment in time, we've lost a couple of weeks because we were away on tour.
Right.
So although theoretically we'd probably be nigh on there by now, but we're at least 2 weeks further adrift, if you see what I mean. It's not just the going on tour, the actual days of being on tour. You pick up your bus the day before, you drop it off the day after. You pick up all the gear all this other stuff that goes on behind the scenes happens, not by miracles. It's all driving shit around. And the funny thing is, then you get back and everything's. I mean, my gear's still in your lounge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
pick it up.
Yeah. Don't worry. I hope you still got the cardboard box for Lydia, because I need that.
Yeah. We got loads of cardboard boxes. You're good. We've totally sold out of shirts, so like we've got.
She wants to post herself to Disneyland. She's gonna be really upset, but it is what it is. To get myself a Mickey Mouse outfit, so when she gets out, I'm like, woo! But all that stuff,
Nice.
like you get back and you end up like, oh mate, I need 2 days sleep, and then you're straight back to work and normal life. But it is. Let me put it like this: without a label, agent, manager, all the rest of it. I don't know anyone else who's doing what we've done. Not really in that kind of level.
Yeah, man.
It's kind of, and it's in an odd way, it's quite disheartening looking at the industry like that. But in another way, it's kind of really like a proper, like, I don't care. Like, we get, like, art is for art's sake, isn't it? It's not, like, who cares? We, like, at one point, we did put out to a bunch of people and said, hey, we're making this music, this is what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. And the general response was like, oh, yeah, I've known your band for ages, I really like it, but we're really busy. And it's like, yeah, no worries, cool. Like, I, and I kind of feel very like that's almost a challenge. Like, I want to try and sell more tickets than whoever, like, than a mean level band on their tour, their rosters are, just for the sake of it. Like, it almost gives you like a bar I'm gonna work to. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Fuel to the
Setting your
fire.
goal,
Is it?
to basically challenging
yeah,
yourself
yeah,
at the end of the
fucking
day.
right.
And that will help in the long term as well, because if you don't set goals for yourselves, you know what I mean? How are you going to
Oh, you
improve?
have to. Yeah, you have to give yourself like, it's hard to explain, but you've got to kind of have serious motivation, and the motivation comes from like, we're making this awesome thing, and you get absolutely absorbed in what you're doing, and then your missus taps you on the shoulder and says, "You do know I'm alive?" It's like, "Yeah, I do. Yeah, sorry, darling." You know, and then and like, bless her, she's flipping heck, like, you know, it's great, it's crazy, but in the same breath, like, that motivation, like, there's there's a lot of it for lots of different reasons. You know, it's almost like, I don't know, it's hard to explain more than like, it's a vocation. It becomes a vocation. It's easy when you're 17 and you live at your mum and dad's house, and you're playing in the garage and you're pissing around and blah blah blah.
Yep.
There comes a point where, like, if I was gonna train to be a lawyer, I'd have been a lawyer ages ago. There'd be some swanky car on the drive, and I'd go on holidays. I worked out the other day, if I carry on the way I'm going, I have 3 more holidays before I die at 80. Like, it's daft. But the other side to it is like the vocational side of it, where I look at it and it's like, even without all the help and without all the push and without everything else, like, what we achieve is crazy. Like, it is
Yeah, man.
batshit. Like, I would, like, literally go and get Firefly, that first song off the new album, and I would happily put it against any album that's been released or any single that's been released this year. Give me one. You go pick them. Stick the videos opposite each other. Stick the message opposite each other. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? Because this is another thing that I think I sometimes, messaging is so important, but I think music's forgotten messaging, like, massively. It's just fucking ego trips, and, like, not all of it, but there's a lot of ego, and I think that, like a, a like, how do I put it? Firefly is the first part of a bigger message, and it's going to be really obvious when we get to a certain point. This is going to be really obvious, and it's like when we did the riddle. We wrote an album that had riddles in the lyrics. The artwork was riddles. You could solve them and find out more stuff about the music and get more stuff. You know.
I like that. That's good. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But systematically, we've always done that. We've always done more things within stuff, and like, and this is a reason why I don't think it gets boring over time, because we have, like, there was a guy who does, like, works in the music, like, with big old successful bands, and he described it as like, you've got sticky music, and people keep listening to it. So even when we stop making music, this is the weird thing, we stop and our numbers go up.
Yeah, that's right.
So our numbers don't stop and die. And the irony is, we're not advertising. We don't have the money to just chuck into a big advertising pool. If we were advertising at a big rate, like you know how they got huge amounts of money and they advertise, our numbers would probably just keep going up.
Yeah.
Because of the way it is. People don't, and so it's you know, a lot of what happens is people's graphs go up and then down and up and then down and then up, and they're like a firework thing. Ours are very consistent, you know, it's just consistent tracking upwards. And I think that, you know, that's you're gonna win regardless. In like, I'll be dead, but we'll do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I'm with you. I hear you.
it's a
Yeah,
weird thing.
So we've reached Toby's
like
like death at this point. And it's funny because before you started the stream, you were like, "Hey, yeah, this is going to take about 40 minutes," and I was like, "You haven't met Toby, have you?" Like, you know?
yeah. Sorry, dude. And we're
To
only
be
on
fair.
question 4.
Yeah, to be fair,
Go for another question.
We spoke with Tony Dolan from Venom Inc. Obviously
Yeah.
local lads to Newcastle. He was the same. But I enjoy, to be honest with you, I enjoy hearing bands. I love hearing bands talking. One of the things why I wanted to do this, I wanted to chat with
You're a
bands, find
legend.
out more about them. So
Yeah.
You're a legend, dude.
I'm more than happy. Just keep going. I can either just turn this into 2 parts onto YouTube. So
Yeah. So what's the
look,
next one?
Next one.
So the rock and metal scene has undergone something of a resurgence in the recent years. So what are your thoughts on the current state of the genre?
Quick, long or short answer?
No.
Short, please, short. For crying out loud. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, go on then.
I'm doing the short version. Like,
I could do the short version.
I like there's bands that I like at the moment. I like, you know, Bad Omens, and I like Sleep Token, and I like Bring Me the Horizon and stuff like that. I know, Toby, you're like, I'm not saying you don't like those bands, but I think you've definitely got a soft spot probably in your heart for bands that you kind of grew up with. Is that the right way of putting it? Well, that's a bit unfair because there's probably some bands that are newer bands that you like as well, bands like Carnival and stuff like that. But
but I mean, to be honest, if I said to you that I like rock and metal goes around and comes around, it goes around and comes around, it doesn't go away. That's the first thing. So what I'm more concerned about with our industry than that is, like, over the next, say, 10, 15 years, we need bands who are going to fill the Iron Maiden, the Metallica, there's certain slots, like, for festivals and for tours for, like, big shows, you know? And I don't think there's an awful lot of bands that are truly like that. Now, the reason I believe that is to do with sound design. Okay, so I'm going to explain something really sort of like, again, another sort of very simple thing, but it's true. If you go to a festival and I play something really intricate, by the time you're at the back of Milton Keynes Bowl, the wind has annihilated the sound, and you get and you know, like, and you kind of get bits of the music coming at you. Whereas, like, when you get that just travels across because it's fucking simplistic. Then the vocal comes out and he's like, it's just fucking monotone. Can't go wrong. And that is not a criticism. That's a recognition of what it takes to make a sound work within a stadium. And so there are certain bands and certain sounds. Wow, 15 minutes apparently. We're going to do some of those, right? But there are certain bands that their setup works for that. And there are other bands where it's really going to be much harder work to make that work for that kind of place. And you need songs which are singable by everyone. So people need to sing them and want to sing them, but you need people to be able to sing them. So there's no use doing 4 billion notes warbling away like fucking Beyonce, because no one's gonna fucking sing it, right? They'll sing the basics, but it's not gonna work. You need the guitars and the drums to be. There's got to be a bit of like. There tends to be a hell of a lot of really fiddly drums nowadays. But in those instances, again, by the time you get a little bit of wind or whatever at the back there, it's gonna get lost. Like, it sounds crazy, but like a square 4/4 beat that's tight and ripped will work in those environments. And I guess what I'm saying is that those bands that really want to transition, that are bigger than us, obviously, at that point, they've got to realize we need a few of those kinds of songs, you know? I'm not saying those songs aren't out there, but what I'm saying is like, how do I put it? Stadium bands are a different animal. It's probably more simplistic and more monotone, but much, much more. It works better for those things. And a lot of it as well. If you take a band like Rammstein, fundamentally, like, they've written, you know, however many albums of the same song. Now it's not all the same, but they're very formulaic. It works really fucking well, and with their stage show and their image, it's a monster. So, like, that's not a criticism. It's like, it's fucking like, hats off to you for fucking making that work, and then taking it from a pub to a stadium in the way they've done, quite frankly, is genius. But we need that. I think the industry needs that. I guess that's what I think anyway.
Yeah.
On the chart.
We got 13 minutes. I think we should try and cram the questions in.
Well,
Okay, let's do quick fire questions.
Quick fire.
I want to do a quick fire. Ooh, wasn't really prepared, but most outrageous thing a fan has ever done at a show.
Oh my god. I don't want to say.
I have seen some bizarre and interesting things, but generally, I don't know. The most outrageous things are usually women are just as bad as men, is the way I would describe it. I've seen some very drunk ladies accosting members of the band in the past. I don't know. What's the most outrageous thing someone's ever done?
In life in general?
No, at a show.
Oh, right. I mean, yeah. No, I think you've. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to be polite.
Go for it.
Mate, the most outrageous thing that's ever happened at a show was Marilyn Manson, and it wasn't even us. And actually, I walked past his dressing room, and I was shocked.
Yeah.
Really?
Mate, wild man, absolutely wild.
He drew a
But they're
pentagram.
cool.
Nice.
Oh shit! Do you remember that?
It was a pentagram made of penises. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Really?
was, yeah.
Wow.
I don't think that's
Yeah,
that wild,
yeah.
but that just stuck in the brain. It was a work of art. Anyway,
Wow.
quick fire.
Absolutely coke.
I'll tell you what. We'll turn it over to our live viewers. So
Yes.
anyone
Yeah,
who
let's do that.
Anyone who is watching live, use the channel redemption points. Ask the band a question while we're waiting for everyone to type. If you could cover a cheesy pop song in the style of Esoterica, what song would you go for?
If we could.
Oh,
yes.
Jesus. I
If
think
you
we've
could
already
cover
done
a
that,
cheesy
haven't
pop song in your style, what would you go for?
Oh,
we?
mate.
Cheesy pop.
I don't really know any.
I'm just going to say "Careless Whisper" because it's the first song that came into my head.
The first song that came into my head was "Come On, Eileen."
Oh, perfect. That's it. Smashed it.
Yeah.
Someone
I
asked a
don't
question earlier on. They said, I think they said who filmed the video. I don't know if I'm quoting that right. But they said
Yes,
something like that.
Yeah.
it was
Neurospice.
Neurospice.
Neurospice. So who filmed the video? And it depends which one you're asking about. So Firefly wasn't filmed as such. Well, it kind of wasn't. It wasn't.
Well, it was filmed 7 times.
We filmed Toby for the motion capture, but when I say we filmed it, me and Mike, mostly me and Toby did it really together, just with iPhones and stuff. But the guy who made the video, when I say he made the video, he did most of the hard work. Was a guy called Luis Andrade, I think is his surname, or Andrade. I never wanted to say that out loud because I always thought I'm not going to pronounce it right. But he's like,
well, you definitely didn't.
Yeah, I totally fucked that up. So he's you know, an incredible CG artist, and you know, it's funny because people watch that video and they go, "Oh, that must have cost you an absolute fortune," and
it did.
It did, obviously, but it should have been more expensive. I'm just going to say that, and I think the only reason it wasn't is because Luis took pity on us, and he was just happened to be a fan of our band, and he's like, I love what you're doing, and all the rest of it. So you know, we kind of, you know, I won't say any more than that, but like, yeah, he did all the work. He's a legend. Like,
yeah, he's the genius who made the thing reality. Although we did,
oh sorry, go on.
Designed it, and it's designed around the. Well, that it's fucking hell.
And
yeah, he's a clever bloke.
The second video, the one that we're working on at the moment, a guy called Sean, who is he is Loki Films, and he shot the live action stuff for the second video, and everything else that you see in that video. No, hang on, that's not quite right. It's kind of in thirds, right? So Loki did a third, then there's some other shots that were shot by Jake, who's our touring photographer, but he also makes music videos and he's super, super talented. And then the other third is CGI, and I've done that for this video. So it's a mixture of all of us. It's a whole thing.
It's a complex animal.
Got no question from Neurospace. What plugin and hardware could you not live without for mixing?
So there's like a whole bunch. Do you know what? Honestly, plugin and hardware aside, right? Honestly, the best way to create a really brilliantly mixed song is to record great source tones in the beginning, right? So, well, first of all, write a good song. Because if you write a good song, then you can just play it on an acoustic guitar and record it with an SM57 and it will sound great. Like, you know, so write a good song in the first place. But then beyond that, then it's about getting great source tones. So that means finding great instruments and setting those instruments up really great, and finding the right microphones in the right spaces and the right engineers and all that good stuff, right? Like, so that is the biggest and best tip that I could ever give anyone about recording something. And like, I was totally spoiled when I'm mixing this stuff because the tones are just awesome to begin with. I can't get it wrong really, because the tones are just like, the engineers that have worked on it just sounds amazing already. I don't need to do anything. But then I think like what plugin and hardware. So there are some plugins which I use a lot, and like recently I've been using the plugin called Soothe, which is great for kind of removing harshness for certain things. I've been using the just sidechaining multi-band compression to kind of get rid of muddiness in mixes. I could talk for hours about really boring technical stuff, which probably most people don't care about. But
incidentally,
but yeah, plugins.
This Utopia has a bit of a crackle going on in my car, so we need to check that. This is the last chorus.
Yeah, cool. Great.
Another question.
I need to double check it, but yeah, I think it's kind
DJ
of
Hoffmeister,
Yeah.
Sorry.
So with the rise of AI, what are your thoughts? Do you embrace it or are you against it?
It's a tool. Think about it like Star Wars. Okay, you've either got Terminator or Star Wars. I think Star Wars is better, right? We basically you cannot mimic the human soul. You cannot mimic what we feel and think truly. And I think that with AI, it's a tool. Use it as a tool. I would really rather a robot AI like I've got a robot Hoover. That's a fucking useful machine. You know, if we can have AI that does all the shit I don't want to do, some banking, that'd be nice because then we don't have to have bankers anymore. Robots can't be greedy. That'd be really useful. You know, imagine all those bankers who were trying to screw all those poor people out of their houses suddenly didn't have jobs. Society might actually be a lot better off. So AI could do all of those jobs where people get greedy and grubby, and then we can use it as a tool for music and creation of videos and things like that. I still think there's a place for film, as in real film. I still think there's a place for like people who are colorists with like when you meet someone who's a great artist, their eyes just pick up better color than mine do, and I know that because the paints they're using don't make the color they've got on the paint. You know, but they see something I don't, and I know that my hearing works differently because I can listen to pop tracks and go, "Oh, that's a bit pitchy. That ain't quite right."
Yeah.
And you can hear things within it. So my point is that AI is a tool, but it can't mimic. It won't make you cry when you're listening to something, or make all the hair stand up on you. It might be able to do that through picking the God note, but the God note isn't within the soul of what that person's doing that makes all the hairs stand up on your neck and your arms, you know? So where do I think AI fits in? I think it does fit in. Like at some point we didn't have cars, we had horses and carts, and now we have cars. You know, I like to think of it like an R2D2 3PO kind of scenario. You know, not a it's not going to do all the art for us, and
I'm with
then
you.
we're all going to have to get jobs working in banks because that would suck a dick.
I hear you. I hear you. So Treacle Truffles asked, "What's the most disappointing live band you?"
Mm.
I have a really controversial answer to that, which I don't want to say. So, Toby, what do
No,
you?
you can say it because I agree, and I just wonder whether it's. See, I'll caveat what you're going to say before we say it, right? It's to do with the sound and the sound design of their tracks, and the venue I don't think lent itself to what they were doing.
Oh, I know what you're going to say, and you're going to say a different thing to what I was going to say. That's cool. I'm totally with you now. I know where you're at.
Yeah,
Because we went
because
to
I
the
was
same gig together, and it was
disappointed.
really disappointing. Like, but I actually think that was nothing to do with the band at all. I actually
No,
think
I don't think it's to do with the band, and I don't think it's to do. Yeah,
I think on that day we were stuck in a bass trap, and all we heard was like a big sound and nothing else.
yeah.
That was
It was
actually
fucking horrendous.
that was actually Sleep Token, but and yeah, obviously a great band.
Someone
but,
else
you
is
know,
with me on Sleep Token.
we
Mate,
fucking-
that's the first time I've queued for a band in 20 odd years.
Really?
Yeah. Which was, don't get me wrong, like they've got some beautiful music, but where we were stood, fucking hell, mate.
But the band
Like,
that I was going to say
all you
was
could hear was the bass. The guitars might as well not been in the room.
oh, it was just a big fart, but it was a real shame because I like the band.
It was a real shame.
But yeah, the band I was going to mention was we saw at the big day out years ago, many like decades ago probably. We saw Marilyn Manson, and he was just before Metallica, I think, and
Yeah.
he totally blew everyone off the stage. He was just outstanding, and I just remember thinking, Jesus Christ, I'd hate to follow that because he was just incredible. And when we went on tour with him, I think was it the first time or the second time, I can't remember. He wasn't in.
I think it was the second.
Yeah, he wasn't in a good place, like musically or mentally or anything really at the time, and it wasn't a high point. It was a high end of low or something, whatever he calls it. It wasn't good, and
Yeah,
that was disappointing, honestly, because of that expectation that I had from the first time I'd seen him, which was just so different.
and he's one of those as well. Like, let's be honest, the guy is, you can't compete with that. He's a different animal, and I think it's very difficult with these things. You kind of, I don't know. Yeah, he's an enigma. So it's not a straight fight, if you know what I mean.
Thank you for
I
asking.
think,
Because it's a tough question.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Because you don't want
yeah, of course.
to shit on other bands, of course.
No,
Yeah.
they're all great. Like any band that you're negative about is at some point probably been amazing, and you're there because you love them and you've seen them or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You're paying to see them. I
Right.
mean, come on.
Yeah.
So
We've had
the
shocking-
ultimate question has just come in for the Get Heavy UK community. What is your Greg's order?
Woohoo!
Guilty.
I'm going to launch straight in. I love a steak bake. I mean, that's
Yes.
like classic, isn't it? I mean,
Classic.
and then probably something dirty and like a donut, something really that
Yum
you know,
yums.
yeah, yum yums. There you go, perfect. Yeah, like that smashed it. Absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Toby?
Oh, I would probably have to get sausage rolls for my boys because that's what they like, you know.
How can you
But
not have a Greg sausage roll?
yeah, exactly. They love them, so yeah, that's probably what I'd do. I don't know whether I don't think I've ever had a Greg's like myself. Maybe a donut in there.
Well,
Let's get
Yeah.
up to
if and when
Newcastle.
you come to Newcastle,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Greg.
yeah. There's one in Caterham, but I've literally been in there and just stood there
you'll have
like
to.
and said, "Can I have some sausage rolls?" and given them to my boys, you know, like.
Oh no, Tobias, your camera went off there. Fuck, champion.
It's just
Orbit
telling me I've
Girl,
got no batteries.
what is your current favourite song or your all-time favourite?
Oh, that's a great question.
It's a baddie. Or
What is-
alive. Burn or alive at the moment.
Yeah, but yeah, yeah.
Songs written by other people.
They're talking about songs written by other people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? I
What song you got on
currently-
repeat?
Oh, bloody hell. Do you know what? Because I haven't got a car at the moment, so I don't really do an awful lot of that. I do a lot of like listening to my own stuff when I'm at home. But a lot of the time, more recently, I did a lot of listening to Lana Del Rey. And yeah, I like her. I like her vibe. It's funny because I'm really into like before that like Fever Ray and think. Do you know like I like fuck ups, and I like music for fuck ups.
Nice.
You know, like it feels homey, and
I like "Love You to Death" by Typo Negative.
that's a
probably-
banger, isn't it? That's a tune. Yeah, fucking right.
I
Black
could just
Number One's
happily
my
listen to that
favourite
every
for
day.
Typo Negative.
Yeah, but there are like it's hard because like I could go all day listing bands and songs that I like and music but I think it depends on where you are at the time, doesn't it? Like it I think like recent in the last however many months, like my best mate killed himself, so I've kind of been a bit depressive, you know, like and a bit like not in a heavy place or like I've just been in a sort of sit at home and drink and fucking. If I listen to Guns N' Roses, it fucking makes me cry now. It's like it's crazy. You know, that was like we used to listen to that. Like Mr. Brownstone just fucking kills me now. And
I think we've all
my
got
point
them
is
type
that
of
like
songs, haven't we?
yeah, you know, like and it's funny because like Flogging Molly. I mean, fucking flog. I don't even like Flogging Molly, but like you know, he played that for his funeral, and like I can't listen to that now. I was like, don't get me wrong, like it's. I think at the moment I'm just not in a place where I'm playing music. Like I'm hiding in music. I'm like working on music puts me into a different place. Do you know what I mean?
I
Like
hear you.
when you're listening to music for pleasure, it's different. But my missus, like when I met her, she was listening to like Queens of the Stone Age and that, and I remember thinking like, yeah, we'll get on. you know, because I tried to date girls who just didn't listen to the same sort of music within years ago, and I was like, "Fuck this, you're an idiot. I can't do this." In my head in. But like she plays like music around the house, like old rock music and that, and like I'm quite happy with all that, you know, like. But I'm not really like listening like a listener at the moment. I've kind of in a bit of a down. Yeah, I'm getting better though. It's getting, you know, it's been a good few
Appreciate your
months.
honesty,
And, you
because
know,
it's difficult to be open and chat about. But
yeah,
I
man.
appreciate
But it's
the honesty.
super important.
It
that we
is.
do.
It is. It is. 100%.
Yeah, mate. It's
Big respect for you for sharing. I really do.
yeah, it's right, mate. Is
Um,
what is.
2 more questions, and we'll let you
Go for it.
escape from us,
No worries.
because we've nearly kept you for 2 hours.
Really?
The kids have probably destroyed the house.
Yeah. House
Oh,
is probably on
mate,
fire.
I'm hiding down here, to be honest.
What was your favourite venue to play live?
Oh, Jesus. Do you know what? Oh, there is a venue in, I want to say like Czech Republic
Yeah.
that's underground. And this venue is massive. You start going down these stairs, and the stairs are as like wide as my lounge. They're like huge, and they spiral down. And it was an absolute bastard for the guys doing like carrying all the gear in. And as you go underground, you suddenly appear at the roof of this venue, which is like art and all painted and beautiful, and like it's amazing, right? And we get into this venue. We were playing with Marilyn Manson. We get onto this stage, and it's one of the most. During the wars over there, this never got destroyed because it's so deep underground. When we started playing, it's like a big room, loads of people. It's really cool. By the time we get so far in, it's like a rainforest because people are breathing and sweating. It's hitting the ceiling. The ceiling's curved. It's literally raining inside this building. It That was a unique experience. It's an amazing venue. I suppose.
It's called Lucerna Palace. I just looked it up.
Did you? It's
Yeah.
honestly an amazing place. Um, Carcassonne was another amazing place. Go play in a castle. Like we played in a castle. That was cool. Like there's been some amazing places we played. And like I don't know. Shepherd's Bush is always lovely. Played there a couple of times now. It's really cool. There's some great venues out there, you know. And the thing is, the
Keeping them
venues
open as well.
only
That's the
like
problem at the minute with the cost of living and all that. It's keeping them open. That's the hard part.
Oh
yeah.
Especially in the
I'll be
UK.
honest with you. I actually think that like government are drunk because they spent so much money on crap that they forget that if the people don't have these things, we're just going to find other entertainment like making decorations for lampposts with politicians.
Yeah.
You know, and the reality is, if I was them, I would very seriously protect those kinds of things, like those venues, sports venues. Like I would have them on a par with schools, you know, and hospitals, because we need hospitals, we need schools, and people need entertainment. And if you don't have those things, you are going to find yourself on a short drop from a lamppost.
Yep.
And like people, nobody likes a politician. Like, you know, they're synonymous with being liars. Like, you know, it just is what it is. And it's mad how society is. It's like, it's, they're just so dumb. It's frightening. It's frightening.
I think we could be here for another 2 hours just
Yeah.
discussing
Yeah, we
how
could,
bad.
but do you know what I mean? It's just an observation.
100%.
It's like
I couldn't agree more.
So,
uh,
from DJ.
Yeah.
If you could collaborate with any artist or band, who would it be?
Prince. Because I reckon something really bizarre and awesome would happen. It's the kind of guy you wouldn't know what the hell you're going to get out of it. You know,
Would he let you release the song though? That's the question. You might record it, and then would he let you
Mate.
release it?
like, can I again, if you kind of have like the psyche of like who I am, like, good luck with that, mate. I would just, and sue me. So what? I haven't got anything. You can have all of my nothing. Good luck. Enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just wouldn't mean anything to me. But like, I really believe you should leave beautiful stuff. Like the world, we should leave it better than you found it. And that's so wonky in our society because everyone thinks we all need these bits of paper. And that's all anyone gives a shit about. As long as the numbers are in the computer, that's the important bit. And as long as I can scroll and I just don't care about that stuff. I really care. I'm sad that fairies and pixies aren't real. I'm disappointed that like goblins and trolls don't exist. It sounds mental, doesn't it? But it's disappointing because some like 100 years ago they were real somewhere. But now we know that Bigfoot doesn't exist, and like someone's so desperate for it to exist and for the Loch Ness monster to exist. And quite frankly, if we put people on the moon, we would have found them. And that's a fucking sad way to be. Like, and then I kind of see it in a different way now. It's like you have a choice. You can either live life and just try and buy a Ferrari, which, don't get me wrong, that's nice. The old ones are much nicer because people made them by hand and there's genuine like creation there. It's not a prefab. There you go. There's your Ferrari. Like there's a work of art there. You go back to looking at all the old cars, same thing. Or we create things and they're not perfect, but they're just perfect. And that's how I see the world. That's it.
Bloody Random in chat has just said fairies and unicorns are real.
Yeah, wicked. Good.
Yeah. Go with Bloody Random on that one.
And what about yourself, Luke? Any dream collaborations for yourself before we end?
Well, do you know what? Here's the thing, right? In life in general, I'm a big believer in just like manifesting or just going out and doing the thing that you want to do, right? So I've thought about this before, and I've just genuinely tried to get in touch with people that I think would be really cool to work with. And so I can think of a couple of people who I have contacted. One is Billy Howardell, right? Obviously of a Perfect Circle fame, and he is like, someone who I think is musical genius on some level. So I've messaged him, and he hasn't yet got back to me, but I'm still hopeful. And I'll badger him some more one day. And
hang out for that. You got to.
When you fill a stadium, you might get a call back.
Yeah, you might get a call back. Yeah. Who else have I contacted? There's like some singers who I just thought like might work vocally with Toby. So Chino Marino is an example. Like I think we've got a bit of a Deftones vibe sometimes, and I met him once at a festival, and he was a jolly nice chap to me. So I don't know him, but he seemed nice.
What about Till Lindemann?
Till Lindemann would be amazing.
Different vibe, but I mean that could be a vibe.
That would be
really cool.
I'm not sure I'm saying his name correctly. Villa Valo, you think of him?
Yeah.
Villa, yeah, that would be cool. My wife said just to message me to say Aurora. That would be really cool. She's got like a fairy vibe going on.
Yeah,
she
sounds amazing.
To work with us, but like that would be cool. Someone said Carnival in the chat. That would be cool. Yeah. I met the singer from that band too. He was jolly nice also. I totally. I don't. We're one of those bands where we kind of have. It's kind of a broad church, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like we kind of go, we can go the super heavy, but we can also go the super ethereal and the quirky as well.
That's what's good about your band, because you have got both elements where you've got the more melodic songs, and you have got some of the songs that do tend, like the end of Firefly, for example, what we touched on before we went live, got that little sick breakdown towards the end. Yeah.
Heavy.
So you're kind of smack bang in the middle of everything, which is perfect for you guys.
Perfect for collabs. Said on the Poppy collab train as well. Yeah, that would be cool. She's cool.
Well, guys,
all of the above.
I appreciate your time. I really do. It's been an
No worries.
absolute amazing insight. Before you do head off, is there anything that you would like to plug before you leave?
Are you looking at me?
You both
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, Hammer Down, obviously, because we're going to do something different there. See, this is the thing. We were talking earlier. I don't know if we talked about this while we were recording, about like everything being an experience. Like from now, I want to make things that are an experience more so than play gigs. And so that literally falls in line with that. So Hammer Down with the string section is going to be nuts. And there's still more work to do. We've still got some writing to do to get that all in. But I know that that's like a one-off. We're not going to do anything like that again. Certainly in the short to mid-term, long term we may do, but not. We haven't got any plans to. I suppose it depends how it goes. And that's such a cool thing. It's such a cool idea that we should plug because I'm looking forward to that. And
Yeah.
like, you know, there will be more stuff down the line, but it's probably going to be quite different. You know, I can't remember what we've talked about on camera and off. So
My wife said, she said, but please buy merch. But I think that extends to like all up and coming bands. Like the most direct way that you can, keep a band alive and keep them making more music in general is to buy merch. I think like it's
and
just,
Patreon, we've got a Patreon.
yeah,
Nice.
it's kind
But
of,
we never advertise it. We don't. We're crap at this side of
we're crap
things.
at the business stuff.
Because,
Yeah.
like, to be honest, we're all so busy and interested in the making of and the doing. Like, that's the bit that's important. That's the thing. Like, I don't know. Like,
I've seen bands starting to. I don't know if you've heard of Discord before. Bands starting to
Yeah.
create their own Discord servers where
yeah,
each members can engage with fans directly. Give like it's kind of
do you
like
know what I've found with that? And not so much that, but like, I am open to fans. I do a thing where my missus has the keys to everything, so she can look and see. I relatively regularly get people very like I get lots of like nice normal people. I do regularly get the odd like people who are very I don't know how to put it, overzealous. Like I and it and I prefer meeting people live in a gig venue because I think it's more true and more real. I think people get carried away. Like one of the things that happens is people go, "Oh, how you doing? What's going on?" Da 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 da, and you're like, "Mate, I'm trying. If I talk to you all day, I won't get anything done, and I've got a shitload of stuff to do." And there's a weird thing where I struggle between the line of being polite and um and sort of not. How do I put it? There's a heart and sort of almost like leading people into say it like cause becoming into like a huge thing, and it's really hard to tread that line. I I have to say I actively am not the biggest fan of it because I think it's not fair on my family and my missus and everyone else because I should be giving them that time. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like there's a moment where I walk out the front door. If I bump into someone and I'm going to Tesco's, I'll give you the time of day, 110%. But there's moments in my time where like my daughter needs me and I need to be 100% for her. And if I answered everything all the time, I seriously would get nothing done. I struggle to keep up with things at times. Each time a new single comes out, it gets harder to keep up. Like last one, I missed quite a bit of stuff, and I recognise that I'm going to fail people soon.
I
Is
feel
what
you.
is.
Feel you because I struggle at times with up on. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So I feel you. Missing stuff. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
not capitalising on something where
It's
was
not
good at-
purposeful,
No,
but
of
it is
course.
what it is. It's yeah, there comes a point where I'm just not sure whether we will have to set aside a certain time of day or a certain thing for that, because I know that some people will be pissed off with me because they feel like I should give them time, but it's hard. I have children and stuff, you know, and
You got to take
you
care
know,
of the family, man.
yeah, and obviously not just that, but just in terms of like you literally, I wouldn't get anything done. Like even musically, you just get nothing done. Just reply to people, and it's tough. It's tough to know what the line is, you know. And it's like, you know, you don't want to be rude. It's like it's
Exactly.
not in my nature to be an asshole. You know, it's it's a hard balance to strike.
It is 100%. I can't agree more. We are not
Mm.
not agree. We have literally just hit 2 hour mark.
Woohoo!
I think we can safely
Mate, I'm a bloody nightmare, aren't I?
call it there. No, you've matched Tony Dolan, so that's quite all right.
Yeah.
Quite all right. I like I said before, I love here talking with bands, etc. Hearing their insights and their thoughts, and it's a good way to connect. I absolutely
Yeah, cool.
really do
Happy
appreciate
days.
it. So, I like to end on this. The rules of the pit are the rules for life.
Balls, you pick.
There we go.
Yeah.
No worries. So
Nice.
take care, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for hanging around live and chat. Thank you, everyone, for the questions.